Hey there, it's Jenna from the Intern Hustle, and in this video, I'm sharing an awesome resource for high school students and their parents who are about to kick off college visits. Honestly, college students too. This resource is phenomenal. Plus, I'm showcasing some really cool opportunities for you if you are a current college student. There is something in this video for everyone, so stick around and make sure that you don't miss a thing. I recently had the pleasure of interviewing Moira McCullough. She is the founder and CEO of College Scoops. A parent of 3 college-bound students, Moira is well-versed in the college search process. Having worked in the technology and consulting fields at 9X and PwC in New York City and London, Moira used her experience to create a comprehensive platform to help prospective families and college students have the best college experience. College Scoops connects students and parents with the current student community by sharing all of the latest information updated by students for students. They go beyond the data to give you an authentic college experience. Moira earned her MBA from Columbia Business School and a bachelor's degree in American Studies from Fairfield University. A serial traveler and connoisseur of chocolate and coffee, in that order, Moira enjoys open water swimming, reading, and spending time with her family exploring new sights and bites. I really enjoyed my conversation with Moira, and I know you will too. We've actually connected quite a bit recently, and I was also a guest on the College Scoops podcast talking about all things internships. I will link to that interview in the description below so that you can check it out later. In the meantime, hit that like button if you're ready to dive into this interview with Moira and learn more about College Scoops. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified for new videos every single week on this channel. Hi, Moira. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I'm really excited to introduce both you and College Scoops to the Intern Hustle community. So let's just start there. Would you please briefly introduce yourself and College Scoops?
Thank you, Jenna, for having me, though. I love seeing your smiling face. You have so much energy on social media whenever I see you. So I had to up my game. I had to up my game to be ready for today. I'm Moira McCullough. I have 3 kids. I'm a mom of 3. So I always love to start that off. I have 2 kids in college and 1 a high school senior. So you can imagine it's been a stress-free year for me.
Yeah.
Just another
Totally
year.
normal. Totally normal. Yeah.
Totally normal. Everything happened just according to plan.
Yes.
So that's first and foremost a mom. I'm also a foodie who loves to travel, and I go to bed thinking about food. I wake up thinking about food. Having said that, I also like to work out. So I'm a swimmer. I swam when I was young. I swam in college, and wherever I go, I travel with a cap and goggles because it's a great way to meet people in whatever place I'm in, and just get to see part of the local community that I wouldn't normally see if I was walking or driving. So
impressive. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew you swam, but I didn't know you took the cap and goggles everywhere with you, which is so fun.
Okay, so the only thing I have to just mention because of your new home is I brought them to New Orleans and I had signed up for this master swim, and the coach was so nice that it was pouring rain and he actually offered to come and pick me up at my hotel to bring me to the swim practice. I was
that's lovely.
Okay, so I'm forever grateful for New Orleans and the great place that I swam in and would continue to if I joined or visited New Orleans again.
It's one of our favorite things about this city is just how friendly it feels. I mean, everyone here has been so lovely. So I'm glad to hear you had a similar experience. So let's hear a little bit more about the College Scoops origin story. Like, how did you decide to start College Scoops and when did you actually launch?
So my kids made me do this. And it was because of our experience when we first started looking at schools. So my oldest, when we first went out, I looked at it as an adventure. I thought, oh, this is the college visit, if you think about it, is the one aspect of the college admissions process where you have control over. So you actually get to pick, and some don't get to pick if they get to visit the school. But if you do have the ability to go visit a school, you are in the driver's seat. You get to go and interview the college. And what happened was my son ended up going and was so nervous about all the other aspects of college life. Like, are these my people? Will I be able to make friends? Am I going to find, a place to work out? Where will I go on a Friday night? And will I make friends? So all these questions were in his head that I didn't know and that I couldn't answer, and that the tour and information session could not answer.
Right.
So our first tour was a disaster. And I came back and I thought, as a parent, I failed. I wasn't able to help him and give him the tools and resources he needed to answer those questions. So I started reaching out to current college students on Instagram. And we work a lot in social media, and we gathered all this information. And the next college visit that my son and I went on, he went off and explored the college campus. And they came back and he told his sister and brother, like, you're going to have the best time visiting colleges with mom because she looks at it in a different lens and she connects you with current students and the community. And it's a lot of fun. So I think that was really kind of the reason why I thought we need to share this and we need to, get this out there so other people can experience the college visits in a different way.
That's really great. And what year was that? What year did you kind of decide you're going to launch College Scoops?
It's been about 2 years. So
2 years.
Probably about, exactly. And, it was one of those things when I reached out, and you work with college students, right? Mm-hmm. You reach out and when you introduce, College Scoops or the Intern Hustle, they're like, I wish I had that when I was looking. And that's what I used when I met you and learned about the Intern Hustle. I thought the same thing. I thought I could have used that in college. That would have been a deal, game changer for me. Students have said the same thing. They've said, I really wish I had that personally, so that they would have made a connection sooner rather than later. And I think a little bit of them are thinking it would have had my parents less stressed out and had a different bonding experience with their parents on the road instead of asking always about the academics. I asked my son, what do you want to eat today?
Yeah.
And I don't know, as a kid, how do you not have fun with that question?
Right. It makes something that could be kind of stressful. You're stepping into this new environment for the first time, but like food is something we all connect on. So I think that's great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing we did is I always say, do something non-college related. So I also said to my son, we're spending time and money going to look at these schools. And again, as a student, you're investing so much of your time and energy and taking out loans to try to pay for this. Make it yours. Make sure you ask the questions and visit those schools and put them through the same kind of test that they're putting you through on paper and make it work for you. So I think if you take that approach, it's a different type of approach and it makes it really fun.
I love that. And you said earlier, it's about what you can control. And this is part of the process that you can control. And I'm always telling students that with the internship process too, like control what you can and don't focus on the things that you can't, because that's not going to get you anywhere. So I love that you have that approach with it as well. So tell me a little bit, I know you put together these interactive college guides, right? That's a big part of what you're doing over at College Scoops. Right. So what can students and parents find in these guides and how can they access them if they're interested in accessing these?
So those we just released and we're so excited about those. I'll take a step back. The platform itself, College Scoops, you can basically, there's a whole host of free content on our platform. So what we started doing is we started contacting those college students, collecting all that really rich data in terms of, what was a deciding factor on choosing your school? What is the social scene like? Like, if I'm not a Greek life person, will I be happy here? Because those are the questions that kids want to know and are afraid to ask. So we ask all those questions. We put them on our platform in a College Scoops website. And then what we do is we share on social media. We're really big on social media like you are. We have YouTube channels, Instagram, Twitter. I'm dying to get a TikTok. So if any of your listeners out there are a TikTok person and you want to take this on as an internship role, I can talk about that.
There you go. We love that.
We'd love to have you come on board. So we share it across different mediums. Then we have a blog. So we have student interns who come on, or students who want to share some insights, some stories that we will publish on our blog. We also have podcasts that we started where we had students, basically our student interns shared with us, there's a lot of other information besides applying to college that we would like to know. We're now attending. So do you have somebody who knows about internships? We contacted Jenna from the Intern Hustle, have her on a podcast. Resumes, LinkedIn, how do you do that? Then we also had students who had said, we'd love to know how to get into sports management. So we would bring on a professional who would talk about that. So our podcast really is for students and parents. We also had I love giving back and helping students fill in the gaps on their resumes. So we have students come on and share their expertise if they have a side hustle at school. So we also interview students as well, student entrepreneurs. So any students out there who want to get interviewed and come on College Scoops, we'd love to have you. And we share that across all platforms and share their company and expertise. And then we basically have student Q&A videos. We reached out to current students and said, would you help us students can't travel to the school, let's put together these student Q&A videos. So we also published that. Then the interactive guides that we just produced, people were saying, we can't get to college. They're not having on-campus programming. So we want to do a drive-by. How do we do that in an informative way that will give you the information you need? So we put together these interactive Google Maps, which takes all the information and content from students that we gather about parking, transportation, dorm life, student testimonials, and we put this in this interactive guide, which is so cool because our interns, we had about 20 interns that we brought on, actually created these. So information by students for students. And I had a comment from one of our interns who worked on the guide for Brown. He said, I'm so happy all my information for Brown is in the guide. I'm like, but it's for students.
Yeah,
it's created by students for students. So
that's great.
I'm glad that we were able to get it. So it's really a very helpful resource and tool for students who, especially now, I have a high school senior who was accepted to schools he's never stepped foot on. So how can you go to those campuses in a safe environment, in a safe way, and kind of get the most that you can out of that experience without having the formal tours and information sessions?
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I mean, I'm dating myself a little bit, but I remember like printing out maps and like taking them with me. I didn't have the interactive experience on a smartphone. So I love that, people have that and they can just drive around and kind of get a sense of each campus, which is such a neat thing that you guys have put together. And the fact that students are the ones doing it and really kind of getting to put the touch on that, I think is very cool. So I know you just said you're sourcing all this information all the time, right? For all the campuses that you're putting these interactive guides together, all the other information you're doing on the website. And you have 3 children yourself. You've done a lot of college visits with them. What would be your top 3 tips? If you could pick your top 3 that you gave to students and parents who are going on these journeys, they're about to kick off campus visits for the first time, and they're like, what do I focus on? What are your top 3 tips?
So when I started this, I always remembered I went up to seasoned parents. I like to say that seasoned instead of saying older. Seasoned parents, and I would say, okay, you've had 3 go through it. Lessons learned. What would you do differently? If you could do something, what do you wish you had done? What advice would you give to your students? So I always like asking somebody who's been through the process, and ask as many people as you can, because everyone has a different take on it. They did something differently. So I'm always out there asking people, lessons learned, what do they wish they did differently, first and foremost. The second thing is make it an adventure. I said to my son, instead of you planning, think about it, as a parent planning the whole trip. As a student, I would think, oh, great, I'm getting in the car, going with my mom for 3 hours, 6 hours. What can I do? How can I make this a different experience? So I said to my son, you pick out what you want to do and where you want to eat today. So getting your student or asking your parents if you can take part in the planning process, it made it more of an investment, and it made it more fun, because then you were talking about, well, I always said do something non-college related as well. So for instance, my youngest rolled his eyes when his older brother said that he would have fun with me in a car. And then all of a sudden I drove him up. He's a car enthusiast. And we went up to a car museum for 45 minutes to an hour. And suddenly we're doing something that was totally not college related, that allowed him to kind of check out and do something fun, and allowed him to be in the driver's seat telling me all the things about cars that I didn't know about.
Yeah, what he's interested in. Yeah,
exactly. So I would really, it's like 3-pronged. 1, parents, reach out to your peers, ask them. Students, connect with a current college student. You have teammates, former classmates, a long lost neighbor that you can connect with, or go into social media. If you want to get involved in a club, for instance, I'm an a cappella person. I love a cappella.
Yeah.
So I would, if I had a daughter or son who was interested in that, reach out on that college website to that group, ask the questions, and maybe say, oh, I'm coming to campus. Any opportunity that somebody might be available. You just never know. If nothing else, they'll give you information. And I always like to say, the information you get, good and bad, the stuff that you don't agree with or don't like is actually as important as what you learn that you like about that particular college campus.
Yep. Same goes for internships. It's about what you don't like, learning that.
Absolutely. And we talked about that before. I think it's those you almost have to make sure that you remember and kind of categorize or take a journal out and say what exactly you don't like, because you may just disregard that and think, oh, it's not important, but it's very, very important. And you may use that in your next, analysis of looking at a college or going for an internship.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I love what you said. I mean, it's really about tailoring the experience and going after some things that you have interest in, if it's on campus or even off campus in the nearby area, which is great. I think back to my college visits, and I love sports. And so it was really important to me that I went to a big sports school. And I also wanted to cheer, didn't know if that would be an option, but wanted to cheer in college and was lucky enough to get to do that at Ohio State. But my parents made a point to try to schedule college visits around big sporting events. So if I could make it to a basketball tournament on campus or a football game, and just, get the sense of what it was actually like to be there for a big sporting event, since that was something that I wanted to be a big part of my college experience. So I think it's great, your recommendations for how they can tailor it to exactly what they're looking for, and just try to, even timing wise, work it out so that you're there for a specific event or you can attend something like that.
Absolutely. And I think that's so important. For instance, looking through the schedule, and as a student, that's something fun that you could say, oh, okay, there's a basketball game at University of Pittsburgh going on that night. I can get tickets. I mean, again, as a parent, you may not want to do that, but think about that. This is where your student's going to call home. This is where they're going to be for the next 4 to 5 years. And if you are into sports life and you go and there's only 5 people in the stands, that's something to consider.
Makes a big difference. Yes, definitely.
You will get all the tickets that you want and be able to invite all your friends. But
true, very true.
You may not get the school spirit you were hoping for.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Well, so those are great tips, and thank you for sharing them. We do have some high school students and parents who watch my YouTube channel and all the videos, but primarily, given what I'm talking about, it's a college student audience who's looking for internships, opportunities. And you briefly mentioned, a couple potential internship opportunities, perhaps college scoops, but you also mentioned these Q&A videos that you do with students about universities. And I know you have a student ambassador program. Can you tell me a little bit about what that college scoop student ambassador program is and how a student can get involved if that's something that they're interested in?
Definitely. So all the content that we get, as you mentioned, we talked about, is from students. So we reach out to students, they can fill out a form. So student ambassador is just sharing why your school rocks, why you chose that school, and a couple of fun places to eat on and around campus. So a student can fill out that, and that's their student ambassador. I know there are ambassador programs at different companies, so kind of different things. Sure. You don't have to, post 5 times a day on your social media about college scoops. So it really is sharing information to help high school students and to share what you love about your particular school. 2, we also have lead ambassadors who we reached out to and created this role once on-campus programming had been basically suspended for the moment. Right. So we reach out to those students, and they basically would ask 4 to 6 classmates to answer 9 questions about what it is they love about their school, how to get internships, et cetera, at that particular college campus. They would gather those video clips, and then we would basically produce that student Q&A video. Now, as we talked about, I mentioned any of your college students that are out there listening, basically we're in a position where we want to get as much content out to really help high school students. And right now, college students, we're reaching out to people like yourself, the Intern Hustle, and saying, if you have any students out there, we would love to co-produce that with the Intern Hustle. So if a student from your group came to us, we would gather that information, have that student Q&A video, and cross-promote it on both channels. So at the end, we're really trying to reach as many students as we can to help them, and also share basically college scoops and the Intern Hustle with both of our communities. So that's another great way. We also, for those students, we do gift a thank you gift card for them, which students have really enjoyed. But I think more than that, we actually do a lot of work on LinkedIn, where we will recommend and endorse students. So students can put lead ambassador for college scoops on their LinkedIn profile, and we'll go in and recommend and endorse them. And that has actually been more valuable and something that students have appreciated more given the difficult situation with jobs and internships.
Yeah, that's, I think my favorite part is that there are people looking for opportunities to get involved and do things over the summer if perhaps they aren't able to get into an internship opportunity. And so this is just a great way for them to have an activity. They are acting as a leader and pulling together other students to get this information sourced and getting to give back to the high school students that they once were, and you know how they can actually learn more about their university that they love. So I think it's a great opportunity. Absolutely. And I will be providing links in the description below this video. So anyone who is interested in taking on that role and being an ambassador with College Scoops and helping to promote your university for high school students who are looking to maybe become a student at your university, I think it's a great opportunity and something that definitely you should look into if you're looking for some experience and something to work on.
Exactly. And just as another, we also have an internship program, which many of our lead ambassadors have all of a sudden said, well, I really like what you're doing. So how can we get more involved? And we have an internship program that grew from 3 students to 20. That's so amazing. Students come in and they want to get involved in digital media, want to get involved in coding. We have plenty of opportunities to help and develop your skill sets and do something that would benefit both, you know, the student and also help College Scoops get the content out to help students from high school.
That's great. And I have to ask this because I know this is going to be the question that I get for sure. So we have a lot of international students in the Intern Hustle community who watch and participate, and they're probably going to ask me, is there an opportunity for me to showcase my college or university? So do you currently work with any schools outside of the United States, or do you have plans to do that in the future where someone who's not in the United States would have an opportunity to participate?
So yes, so couple things. One, we have several international students who attend colleges in the US who are student ambassadors. Right. And which is just wonderful because they're like, oh my gosh, I arrived on campus and I didn't know any of this and I wish I had a helpful resource like this. 2, we are looking to roll it out, but we're just, right now we have 64 colleges that we released at the beginning of March. We just added another 11 for 75. So yes, we are moving to the international, but we just are, it's in a staged process right now. So hang tight.
No worries. I just knew it was going to be a question. I'm like, so I'm going to ask the source directly because I don't know how to answer that for them. So, but it for sure was going to be a question coming in. So that's great. And then just circle back really quick with me on how people can access the guides that you already have. So you said you have 75 already that are released. And so what is the way that they can gain access?
So people can go onto the College Scoops website and you can actually purchase. We had 2 different platforms or 2 different memberships. So you have a weekly membership or an annual membership. And the annual membership is really great because you have access to our whole content, all of our guides. So you would just sign up for an annual membership and you have the ability to access all those guides for a year. We have many students that are freshmen at colleges or sophomores that obviously didn't get the in-person experience. So many of them are looking at these guides as, oh my gosh, this is the upperclassman's guide to campus. Like, Jenna, think about it. Imagine all the stuff you learned as a senior in college. And you're like, if only I had known about that place as a freshman.
Yep.
So I just don't know if I want my youngest son to see it because I kind of, you know, he may end up at some places maybe as he should be as a senior, but we'll let that one go.
Yeah. Okay. So that's great. So they can go to collegescoops.com and get the information there. Anything else that you would like to share about College Scoops? You've shared so much great information. I know everyone from students to parents are going to be excited to learn about it. Anything else you'd like to share? And just where can people find all things College Scoops? So if you are on campus and you want to help out, definitely reach out to us. And again, we're on social media. We also have students who send in, you know, different photos of them on and around campus, and we'll hashtag College Scoops or we'll send us a DM. I'm reachable on Instagram, Twitter, again, TikTok. I'm making another plea for TikTok.
If you are a student who loves TikTok, reach out to us and you can help us launch our TikTok platform. LinkedIn as well. Contact us through LinkedIn. We're always want to expand our college base as much as we can. We are small, we're trying to do it thoughtfully, and we want it to be rich and valuable content that represents, a good portion of the campus. So any students out there, reach out, and I'd love to work with you and share your stories and expertise. And if you have a side hustle and you'd like to share that, we would love to co-sponsor that with the Intern Hustle and share your expertise on a podcast, in a blog post, or in a student Q&A video.
That's
so
great.
Plenty of opportunities.
Plenty
you just
of
have
opportunities.
To choose.
Yes. And I have to say, I follow College Scoops on Instagram, and I'm not even looking to go to college anymore, but I love getting to learn all the little fun facts and trivia that you guys put out about the universities that I otherwise never would have known. So it's always super interesting to follow along, because I think you're showcasing different universities, each week or every couple of days. And I'm getting to kind of go on these college campuses myself, even though I'm not even looking anymore, which is so fun.
Who knows? We could go back again, and then we'll be so much more knowledgeable about that. I have to look at the grad school as the next phase.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Moira, thank you so much. I have one final question that I ask everybody, and it's just my way of getting to know people a little bit better, glorified fun fact, if you will, about the person. And so the question is, what's your party trick?
So the way you ask this, though, is you're like, no pressure. Yours is a one-arm push-up. How do I even compete with that? And we talked about it. We're both kind of athletes. And so I'm competitive with myself, not necessarily with anyone else. But I was like, that is a hard question. So I had to ask, of course, my kids, and they're like, that's a really hard question. But I'm going to bring it back to food. So I love food. So whenever I have a party or go to a party, I always like bringing something. And food is something that brings people together wherever spectrum they are on. So I love it because it creates a dialogue, a discussion. But I also like to cook with different ingredients. So I'm a baker. And this is another thing I didn't mention. So for all your college students, and I'll make this for Intern Hustle, if you contact me and we end up getting a student Q&A video, or you refer a couple people to me, I will bake you a care package. And I've been known that my funfetti brownies are kind of known for, they're a little bit of a hit. So I love baking and I love sharing ingredients. So I've made a couple different cookies recently with different ingredients that then I will ask people who I gift them to, what do you think are in these cookies? Which always presents a puzzled look. So please ask.
Yes.
You can ask away. What are some of the different ingredients you might ask?
Yes.
I have these dark chocolate chip cookies that are actually made with black beans.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, which is interesting. Then the other ones are chocolate chip cookies that are actually made with chickpeas, another thing. But the real hit, the one that I love throwing out there, is these chocolate chip cookies. And from the looks of them, you would never think anything. When you taste them, you kind of don't know what to think. They're good, but they're made with cricket powder, and that's always a showstopper.
That's crazy. Yeah,
it is crazy because if you don't know, you wouldn't think anything of it. But just, Jenna, come on. When I just mentioned that, your facial expression.
Yeah.
Did you not love it? That's my
it's a party trick. And so that's why you say it's a tough question. And I get why people think that, but I love it because it's such an icebreaker to learn something that you would not have maybe otherwise had brought up in conversation. And It's actually on my business card. So one side of my business card says, what's your party trick? And it's got me starting to do a one-arm push-up. And the other side has me completing the one-arm push-up. But when I hand out my business card, that's kind of how I kick off conversation with someone. I what's your party trick? Because they're like, what's this? And I explain how that kind of became my thing over the years, and get them to tell me something unique about themselves as well. So I love it because I get to learn really cool, fun facts about people, and it's part of your personal brand.
You need to have a separate YouTube where you compile all of the interesting fun facts that you learn about people. And do the party trick. You should do a party trick YouTube. I think that's great.
Yeah, I have one coming with my party trick soon. It'll be a little short.
Oh, good.
Just for fun, just like a total fun, kind of like TikTok-y clip, But
I love that.
Yes, it's a fun.
I will share that. I will share that. Make sure to tag College Scoops. I will share that.
I will. Awesome. Well, Moira, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. And you brought the energy today. So you definitely showed up, the flowers in the back, everything perfect. But I'm so excited for students, parents, everyone to watch this, because I think there's multiple ways for people to get involved with College Scoops, as you pointed out, as a student. And then for, students and parents who are looking, it's just such a great resource that I wish I had, like many students I know wish they had when they were kicking off their college journey. So thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you, Jenna. And I love what you do. I really do as well. So I think it was one of those where we both found each other and we're like, we have to talk, and we have to share our stories and our experience, because what you do, I think, is so important, especially now more than anything. I think, students are looking for some help and some mentorship, and you present it in such a fun way that you can't help but get excited. So kudos to you and thank you. And I look forward to sharing all your information on College Scoops and collaborating together.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I will link everything below that we talked about in today's video. And I am on the College Scoops podcast coming up. So once that episode goes live, it will be linked below as well for you guys to check out. But Moira, thank you again. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.